Raised bed extreme harvest without end with the most ingenious hacks. Upcycling raised beds. Recycling raised beds. Art raised beds. Raised beds on wheels. Art and culture raised beds. Urban farming raised beds. Planning. Construction instructions. Planting. Cultivation. Harvest calendar. Recipes. Now harvest properly. In the vast gardens and urban oases worldwide, there is a growing community of enthusiasts who value the raised bed as one of the most effective and versatile methods of gardening. Under the bright California sun, the rolling hills of England and the vibrant streets of London, Helene met up with a talented team of experts and garden lovers from different countries. Their goal was to combine their collective knowledge and passion for gardening to create a comprehensive work, a book that not only covers the basics of raised bed construction, but also presents innovative techniques and best practices from around the world. Through numerous meetings, discussions and practical experiments, every facet of raised bed gardening was explored and refined. From the green hills of Vermont to the sun-drenched vineyards of California, new ideas were gathered and best practices highlighted. The vibrant energy of London brought a wealth of inspiration and urban gardening craftsmanship that enriched the book with a modern, international flair. With this diversity of experience, expertise and creative approaches, the perfect raised bed Harvest Like a Madman was born. This book is the result of a global collaboration aimed at giving both novice and experienced gardeners all the tools they need to plan, build, plant and maintain a raised bed, and achieve abundant harvest success in the process. The fascination of the raised bed. The appeal of the raised bed lies in its versatility and efficiency as a gardening tool. A raised bed offers numerous advantages over traditional beds or planters. The raised bed's elevated position allows for better control over the soil and environmental conditions, resulting in healthier plants and higher yields. In addition, the raised bed offers an ergonomic way of working as it allows planting, tending and harvesting in an upright position, which reduces back pain and strain. The structure of the raised bed also allows for better water and nutrient retention in the soil, resulting in less water consumption and fertilizer requirements. Another important aspect of the raised bed's appeal is its adaptability to different environments and conditions. Whether in small urban oases, on balconies, in backyards or even in community gardens, raised beds can be used anywhere and allow people with limited space to grow their own vegetables. The ability to grow different types of plants in a raised bed and even create different layers for different needs makes it an extremely flexible and creative gardening tool. From herbs to vegetables to flowers, raised beds can accommodate a wide range of plants and provide gardening enthusiasts with a bountiful harvest and aesthetic delight. Overall, the appeal of raised beds is a combination of practical benefits, creative possibilities and the joy of gardening that appeals to people of all ages and backgrounds. It's a way to strengthen your connection to nature, grow healthy food and develop your green thumb. Why the perfect raised bed? Why should you strive for the perfect raised bed? This question can be answered by a number of advantages that a well-planned and maintained raised bed offers. Optimal plant growth. The perfect raised bed provides optimal conditions for plant growth. By controlling soil quality, irrigation and other environmental factors, plants can grow healthier and produce higher yields. Efficient use of space. Raised beds allow for efficient use of available space. The vertical structure allows more plants to be grown in a smaller area, which is particularly beneficial in urban environments where space is limited. Ergonomics and comfort. A well-designed raised bed can make gardening easier because it can be raised to a comfortable working height. This reduces strain on the back and joints and makes gardening more enjoyable and accessible for people of all ages. Environmental friendliness. Raised beds can be made environmentally friendly by using recycled materials and by adopting sustainable growing practices such as composting and mulching. They also allow for more efficient use of water and nutrients, resulting in less waste. Aesthetics and variety. A perfect raised bed can not only be functional but also aesthetically pleasing. The variety of plants, colors and textures in a raised bed can create an attractive focal point in the garden and increase the joy of gardening. Raised bed offers a number of benefits that make it an attractive and rewarding gardening project. Through careful planning, construction and maintenance, garden lovers can create a raised bed that not only produces beautiful yields, but also increases the joy and satisfaction of gardening. Basics of raised bed planning. Planning a raised bed is the first and crucial step to the success of your gardening project. Here are some basic considerations to take into account when planning a raised bed. Choosing a location. Choose a location for your raised bed that receives at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. Avoid shady areas or places with strong winds as this can affect plant growth. Size and height of the raised bed. Decide on the size and height of your raised bed based on your needs and available space. A raised bed should be at least 30 centimeters deep to provide enough space for the roots of the plants. The width can vary depending on your preferences, but should be around 1 to 1.2 meters for easy access from all sides. Materials and construction. Choose the materials to build your raised bed carefully. Common options include wood, stone, concrete, or even recycled materials like pallets or old bricks. Make sure the materials are non-toxic and durable to ensure long-term use. Soil quality. Consider the quality of the soil you plan to use for your raised bed. Ideally, the soil should have good drainage and a balanced nutrient composition. You can use commercially available raised bed soil or make your own mix using compost, garden soil and other organic materials. Accessibility and maintenance. When placing your raised bed, think about accessibility for maintenance and harvesting. Make sure there is enough space around the raised bed to work comfortably. You should also consider the possibility of installing protection against pests such as slugs or rodents. By keeping these basic raised bed planning considerations in mind, you will lay a solid foundation for a successful gardening project. Careful planning in advance can help avoid problems and help your raised bed reach its full potential. Choice of location. Choosing the right location for your raised bed is crucial to the growth and health of your plants. Here are some important considerations for choosing a location. Sunlight. Choose a location that receives at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. Plants need light to photosynthesize and produce food. A sunny location promotes healthy growth and a bountiful harvest. Protection from strong winds. Avoid locations exposed to strong winds as this can damage or dry out your plants. If possible, choose a sheltered area in your garden or use windbreaks such as fences or hedges. Soil quality. Examine the soil at your site to ensure it is suitable for growing plants. Ideally, the soil should be well drained to avoid waterlogging and contain a sufficient amount of organic materials to encourage plant growth. Water supply. Make sure your raised bed is located near a water source to allow for easy watering. A consistent and adequate water supply is crucial for plant growth, especially during the dry summer months. Accessibility. Consider the accessibility of the site for maintenance and harvesting. A location close to your home or patio will make it easier for you to regularly monitor and maintain your raised bed. Environmental factors. Also consider other environmental factors such as shade from surrounding trees or buildings, possible pests or neighbors that may affect your plants. By keeping these considerations in mind when choosing the location for your raised bed, you can create the best conditions for a successful gardening project. A well-chosen location promotes healthy plant growth, makes maintenance easier, and ensures a bountiful harvest. Size and height of the raised bed. The size and height of your raised bed are critical factors in the success of your gardening project. Here are some important considerations for determining the optimal size and height. Growing conditions. Consider the needs of your plants as well as your own preferences when determining the size of the raised bed. Larger raised beds provide more room for a variety of plants and allow for a larger harvest. However, smaller raised beds are easier to maintain and may be a better fit for your available space. Growing space. The width and length of your raised bed will determine the growing space you have available. Make sure the raised bed is large enough to grow the plants you want, while also considering the space needed for pathways or access to the raised bed. Height of the raised bed. The height of the raised bed affects the root depth of your plants as well as the ergonomics of gardening. A raised bed should be at least 30 centimeters deep to provide adequate space for the roots and ensure good drainage. However, higher raised beds can provide better accessibility and reduce bending when gardening. Materials and construction. The choice of materials and construction of your raised bed can also affect the size and height. Wood, concrete blocks or other building materials can come in different heights and sizes or can be customized to meet your specific needs. Aesthetics and design. Consider aesthetic aspects when determining the size and height of your raised bed. A well-proportioned raised bed can not only be functional, but can also visually enhance your garden and contribute to the overall design. By keeping these considerations in mind regarding the size and height of your raised bed, you can create a raised bed that suits your needs and garden style. Careful planning in advance can help ensure a successful gardening project and give you a bountiful harvest. What size is ideal for a 30-meter raised to the power of 2 terrace? For a 30-meter raised to the power of 2 patio, you can use one or more raised beds of different sizes and shapes, depending on your preferences and needs. Here are some considerations for the size and layout of raised beds on a 30-meter raised to the power of 2 patio. A large raised bed. You could choose a single large raised bed that takes up a significant portion of your patio. For example, depending on the space available, you could choose a raised bed with dimensions of 2.5 meters long x 1.2 meters wide and a depth of around 60 centimeters. This would give you a considerable growing area while also allowing enough space for pathways around the raised bed. Multiple smaller raised beds. Alternatively, you could opt for multiple smaller raised beds spread across the patio. For example, you could place 2 or 3 raised beds, each approximately 1.2 meters long x 1 meter wide and 30-40 cm deep. These could be placed either next to each other or in different corners of the patio to create a versatile and aesthetically pleasing garden area. Combining raised beds with other garden elements. You could also combine raised beds with other garden structures such as planters, trellises or garden furniture to achieve a versatile and feature-rich patio design. By cleverly incorporating raised beds into your patio landscape, you can make the most of your limited space and create an attractive and productive garden space. Regardless of the option you choose, it is important to consider the proportions and flow of space on your patio to create a harmonious and functional garden area. There are many raised beds on roofs in London. What do they look like and what materials can I use? Raised beds on rooftops in London are often an extremely effective use of limited space in urban environments. These raised beds vary in size, shape and materials, but are often designed to meet the specific needs and constraints of rooftop gardens. Here are some common features and material options for raised beds on rooftops. Modular construction. Many rooftop raised beds are designed to be modular, meaning they are made up of individual modules that are easy to transport and install. These modules can often come in different sizes and shapes, allowing the raised bed to be customized to fit the existing roof space. Lightweight materials. Due to the weight limitations of rooftop gardens, raised beds are often made from lightweight materials that don't add too much extra weight to the building's structures. Popular material options include wood composites, plastics, galvanized steel or aluminum, among others. Built-in irrigation systems. Many rooftop raised garden beds have built-in irrigation systems to facilitate watering and optimize water usage. These may include automatic drip irrigation systems or simpler options such as irrigation channels along the raised bed edges. Drainage. Adequate drainage is especially important for raised beds on roofs to prevent waterlogging and reduce the risk of flooding or structural damage. Raised beds can be fitted with perforated inserts, gravel or crushed stone bedding or special drainage layers to drain away excess water. Easy assembly and maintenance. Because rooftop gardens are often difficult to access, raised beds are designed to be easy to assemble, maintain and harvest. This may include the use of prefabricated components, easily removable side walls or hinged lids that make it easier to access the plants. Overall, raised beds on rooftops in London are a practical and attractive way to make the most of limited space in urban environments while improving the quality of life. By choosing the right materials and design features, you can design a raised bed that suits your individual needs and the specific conditions of your rooftop garden. Which raised beds are very popular in New York? In New York, raised beds are an extremely popular option for gardening enthusiasts living in urban environments. These raised beds are often used in community gardens, on rooftop decks, in backyards, or even on balconies to effectively utilize limited space and grow fresh vegetables. Here are some of the most popular types of raised beds in New York. Raised planters. This type of raised bed consists of raised planters, often made of wood, plastic or metal. They come in a variety of sizes and can be easily placed on patios, balconies or in backyards. Raised planters are easy to install and provide good drainage for the plants. Pallet raised beds. Pallet raised beds are a creative and inexpensive way to build a raised bed. Old pallets are often recycled and stacked vertically to create planting areas. These raised beds are particularly suitable for small spaces and can be easily transported or reconfigured. Modular raised beds. Modular raised beds are designed to consist of individual modules that can be combined or expanded as needed. These raised beds are flexible and can be adapted to different environments and needs. They are often made from durable materials such as galvanized steel or wood composites. Self-watering raised beds. Self-watering raised beds are a convenient option for people with busy lifestyles or little time for gardening. These raised beds feature built-in irrigation systems that efficiently distribute water and minimize water usage. They are ideal for growing vegetables and herbs in urban environments. Rooftop garden raised beds. Due to limited space in urban environments, raised beds on rooftops are very popular in New York. These raised beds are often made from lightweight materials and have special design features such as built-in irrigation systems and improved drainage to meet the unique needs of rooftop gardens. Overall, raised beds in New York offer a practical and attractive way to grow fresh vegetables and enjoy the joys of gardening even in urban settings. The variety of options available allows people to find raised beds that meet their individual needs and space constraints. Materials and tools. When choosing materials and tools to build a raised bed, there are several options depending on your preferences, budget, and available resources. Here are some common materials and tools that can be used to build a raised bed. Wood. Wood is a popular material for building raised beds because it is affordable, durable, and easy to work with. Common types of wood for raised beds include cedar, Douglas fir, larch, or pressure-treated pine. For longer durability, use wood that is rated for outdoor use and treated to resist rot. Stone. Natural stones or concrete blocks can be used to build sturdy and durable raised beds. Stone raised beds offer a natural aesthetic and can be created in a variety of designs and sizes. However, they often require more effort and labor to build compared to other materials. Metal. Metal raised beds, made from galvanized steel or aluminum, are a modern and durable option. They are resistant to rot and can come in a variety of styles and colors. However, metal raised beds can be more expensive and require good insulation to prevent roots from overheating in the summer. Plastic. Plastic raised beds are lightweight, inexpensive and easy to assemble. They are often made from recycled plastic and can come in a variety of colors and designs. However, plastic raised beds often have a limited lifespan and can be damaged over time by UV rays or extreme temperatures. Tools. To build a raised bed, you will need basic tools such as a saw, drill, screwdriver, hammer, and spirit level. Additional tools such as a shovel, trowel, spade, and ruler may also be useful depending on the material you are using for your raised bed. Protective materials. Remember to also use protective materials such as weed control fabric, garden fleece or wire mesh to protect your raised bed from weeds, pests or rodents. By choosing the right materials and tools to build your raised bed, you can create a sturdy, durable and functional garden bed that will bring you years of enjoyment. What recyclable materials could I use? There are a variety of recyclable materials that you can use to build your raised bed. Not only are these materials environmentally friendly, but they can also be inexpensive or even available for free. Here are some recyclable materials that can be used to build a raised bed. Wooden pallets. Old wooden pallets are a common and versatile choice for building raised beds. You can disassemble the pallets and use the individual boards to form the side walls and bottom of your raised bed. Make sure the pallets are non-toxic and have not been treated to avoid contaminating your plants. Recycled wood panels. Old wood panels or leftover lumber can also be used to build a raised bed. These can often be obtained free of charge or inexpensively from hardware stores. construction sites or dismantling companies. Make sure that the wood has not been treated and is free of harmful substances. Concrete blocks. Concrete blocks or bricks can be used to build sturdy and durable raised beds. You can stack the blocks to achieve the desired height and shape and fix them with mortar or concrete to stabilize the structure. Steel or metal containers. Old bathtubs, zinc bowls, metal drums or other containers can be converted into raised beds by filling them with soil and using them as planters. Make sure the container is made of non-toxic material and has enough holes in the bottom to ensure good drainage. Recycled plastics. Plastic containers, buckets, tubs or boxes can be used as raised beds by filling them with soil and using them as planters. Make sure the plastic is food grade and non-toxic to ensure a safe growing environment. By using recyclable materials to build your raised bed, you can not only reduce your carbon footprint, but also create a gardening space in a creative and cost-effective way. However, be careful when selecting and using recycled materials to ensure they are suitable for growing plants and free from contaminants. What ideas are there for unusual raised beds in London? There are a variety of creative and unconventional raised bed ideas in London that make the most of limited space while creating aesthetically pleasing garden features. Here are some unusual raised bed ideas in London. Vertical raised beds. Vertical raised beds are a space-saving option for urban environments like London. These can be attached to walls, fences or railings and provide a vertical growing area for a variety of plants. Vertical raised beds can be made from recycled materials such as pallets, old shelving or vertical planting systems. Raised beds on wheels. Mobile raised beds on wheels are a practical option for city dwellers in London who want to vary their garden location. These raised beds can be easily moved, allowing you to place them in different areas of your garden or patio as needed. They can be made from wood, metal or recycled materials and come in a variety of sizes and shapes. Rooftop garden raised beds. Rooftop gardens are common in London, and raised beds are a popular option for rooftop gardening. These raised beds can be installed in special containers or frames adapted to the specific requirements of rooftop gardens. They can also be fitted with additional features such as automatic watering systems, solar lighting or seating to create a multifunctional and aesthetic garden landscape. Aquaponics raised beds. Aquaponics is a sustainable farming method that uses fish and plants to interact in a closed-loop system. Aquaponics raised beds combine raised beds with aquaculture containers to create an efficient and resource-efficient method of gardening. These raised beds can be used both indoors and outdoors in London and provide a bountiful harvest of vegetables and fish. Artistic raised beds. London is home to many artistic and creative raised beds that serve as art installations or public artworks. These raised beds can be designed with sculptural elements, mosaics, graffiti or other art techniques to create a unique and inspiring garden space. They can also serve as a gathering place for community gardens or public events, helping to improve the quality of life in urban areas. These ideas for unusual raised garden beds in London show the variety and creativity possible when designing urban gardens. By embracing unconventional approaches and materials, you can create a unique and inspiring garden space that is not only beautiful to look at, but also provides a bountiful harvest and positive community impact. What ideas are there for unusual raised beds in Detroit, USA? In Detroit, USA, There is a growing community of urban gardeners and garden enthusiasts who are creating creative and unconventional raised beds to grow food, strengthen communities and revitalize underused urban spaces. Here are some ideas for unusual raised beds that could be implemented in Detroit. Upcycled raised beds. Use recycled materials such as old car tires, barrels, pallets or concrete pipes to create unique raised beds. These materials can be obtained for free or inexpensively and will add a rustic and industrial charm to your garden. Community gardens. Establish community gardens consisting of multiple raised beds maintained by different members of the community. These raised beds can be placed in public parks, schoolyards, community centers, or vacant lots and serve as a gathering place for neighborhoods to collaborate and grow fresh vegetables. Raised beds on wheels. Create mobile raised beds on wheels that can be moved around the city and displayed in different neighborhoods or events. These raised beds can be made from lightweight materials such as wood, plastic or metal and allow you to change your garden location as needed and display your harvest. Rooftop garden raised beds. Take advantage of unused roof space in Detroit to install raised beds and encourage urban agriculture. These raised beds can be placed in special containers or frames suitable for rooftop gardens and provide a bountiful harvest of vegetables, herbs and flowers in the city. Artistic raised beds. Design artistic and creative raised beds that serve as public art installations and enrich the community. These raised beds can be decorated with sculptures, mosaics, graffiti or other art techniques and provide not only a bountiful harvest but also an inspiring environment for Detroit residents. Raised beds with vertical gardening. Use vertical gardening techniques to create raised beds that provide maximum growing space in a small space. Use vertical structures such as shelves, trellises or hanging pockets to grow plants on walls or fences and make your garden vertical. These ideas for unusual raised garden beds in Detroit show the variety and creativity possible in urban garden design. By utilizing innovative approaches and materials, you can create a unique and inspiring garden space that not only produces beautiful yields, but also strengthens the community and improves the quality of life. What ideas are there for unusual raised beds in Berlin, Germany? Berlin, Germany, has a diverse and creative gardening scene that is characterized by innovative and unconventional ideas. Here are some ideas for unusual raised beds that could be implemented in Berlin. Urban farming raised beds. Create larger raised beds or community gardens in urban settings that serve as part of an urban farming project. These raised beds can be placed in community gardens, on vacant lots, in backyards or on rooftop gardens and grow a variety of vegetables, herbs and fruits. Raised beds made from old furniture. Use old pieces of furniture such as dressers, cabinets or tables to create unique raised beds. These pieces of furniture can be converted and filled with soil to serve as planters and create a rustic and individual garden space. Raised beds in public spaces. Place raised beds in public parks, squares or streets to create green spaces and improve the quality of life in the city. These raised beds can be maintained by the community and serve as a gathering place for neighbors to collaborate and grow vegetables. Art and culture raised beds. Design raised beds as artistic and cultural installations that reflect the diversity and creativity of Berlin. These raised beds can be decorated with sculptures, mosaics, graffiti or other art techniques and serve as public artworks that beautify the urban landscape. Raised beds for schools and educational institutions. Set up raised beds in schoolyards, kindergartens or educational institutions to introduce children and young people to growing vegetables and herbs. These raised beds can serve as an educational tool and teach students the importance of healthy eating and sustainable agriculture. Self-sustaining raised beds. Use permaculture principles to create raised beds that are largely self-sustaining and can be operated sustainably. These raised beds can include a variety of plants, composting areas, rainwater collectors and beneficial insect habitats, creating an ecological and sustainable garden landscape. These ideas for unusual raised garden beds in Berlin show the variety and creativity possible when designing urban gardens. By using innovative approaches and materials, you can create a unique and inspiring garden space that not only produces beautiful yields, but also strengthens the community and improves the quality of life. Which community raised bed projects are currently in existence in the world? There are a variety of community raised bed projects around the world that help strengthen communities, improve access to fresh vegetables, and promote sustainable agricultural practices. Here are some examples of such projects. Community gardens. Community gardens are places where people come together to grow vegetables, garden, and care for nature together. These gardens can contain a variety of raised beds that are maintained by different members of the community. Community gardens can be found all over the world, from urban areas to rural communities. School gardens. Schools around the world are increasingly implementing gardening programs to give students hands-on experience in gardening and promote awareness of healthy eating. School gardens may include raised beds maintained by students and serve as a living classroom for environmental education and sustainability. Community centers. Community centers and social service organizations can use raised beds as part of their programs to promote community and social inclusion. These raised beds provide an opportunity for people to get involved, learn new skills, and form social bonds while working together on a gardening project. Neighborhood projects. Many cities around the world have neighborhood projects dedicated to creating green spaces and promoting urban agriculture. These projects may include raised garden beds maintained by neighborhood residents and serve as a gathering place for neighbors to collaborate and beautify public spaces. Community agricultural initiatives. Community-supported agricultural initiatives, CSA. Agriculture, CSA, bring farmers and consumers together to promote direct distribution of agricultural products. Some CSAs also include raised beds or community gardens that members can maintain to increase access to fresh vegetables and support local agriculture. These examples demonstrate the diversity and value of community raised bed projects around the world. Through collaboration and community engagement, these projects can help create a more sustainable and resilient food supply and improve the quality of life in urban and rural communities. Step-by-step assembly instructions. Here is a step-by-step guide to building a raised bed. Step 1. Site selection and preparation. Choose a sunny location with good drainage for your raised bed. Remove weeds, stones and other obstacles from the ground. Step 2. Determining the size and shape. Decide how big and what shape your raised bed should be. Consider the availability of materials and the available space. Step 3. Procurement of materials. Gather the necessary materials such as wooden boards, screws, nails, fuel, for the floor, garden soil and compost. Step 4. Building the frame. Cut the wooden boards according to the desired size of the raised bed. Assemble the wooden boards into a rectangular or square frame using screws or nails. Make sure the frame is stable and straight. Step 5. Installing the floor. Cover the bottom of the raised bed with a layer of foil to prevent water from seeping through. Fill the bottom of the raised bed with a mixture of garden soil and compost. Make sure that the soil is evenly distributed and that there are no voids. Step 6. Filling the raised bed. Fill the raised bed with a mixture of high-quality garden soil and rich compost. Avoid compacted soils and make sure the soil is loose and well drained. Step 7. Plant selection and planting. Choose the plants you want to grow in your raised bed, taking into account the location, sunlight and available space. Raised bed according to the recommended spacing and depth. Step 8. Watering and care. Keep the raised bed moist regularly, but not too wet. Remove weeds. Fertilize plants as needed, and watch for pests or diseases. Step 9. Harvest and enjoy. Harvest your plants as soon as they are ripe and enjoy the fresh, healthy produce from your own raised bed. Be sure to maintain the raised bed after harvest and prepare it for the next growing season. With these step-by-step instructions, you can successfully build your own raised bed and enjoy a rich harvest of vegetables, herbs or flowers. Preparation of the substrate. Preparing the subsoil is an important step in building a raised bed to ensure a stable base and good drainage. Here is a guide to preparing the subsoil for your raised bed. Step 1. Site selection. Choose a suitable location for your raised bed that receives enough sunlight and allows good air circulation. Make sure the ground is level and stable to prevent the raised bed from slipping or sinking. Step 2. Mark the base. Mark the outline of the raised bed using stakes or a string to determine the exact position and size. Use a spirit level to make sure the marked area is level. Step 3. Remove weeds and grass. Remove weeds, grass and other vegetation from the marked area. Dig the soil about 10-15 centimeters deep to create a level surface and make room for the base. Step 4. Leveling and compacting the soil. Use a shovel or digging fork to loosen the soil and remove any large clumps or stones. Compact the soil evenly with a vibrator or hand tamper to create a firm and stable base for the raised bed. Step 5. Laying a drainage layer. Optional. Place a layer of coarse gravel or chippings on the prepared subsoil to improve drainage and prevent waterlogging. Distribute the drainage layer evenly over the entire surface of the raised bed. Step 6. Installation of a root barrier. Optional. If you want, you can install a root barrier made of plastic film or root barrier fleece along the inner walls of the raised bed to prevent roots from penetrating the soil. After preparing the ground, your raised bed is ready for building the frame and filling it with soil. Careful preparation of the ground ensures a stable base for your raised bed and promotes healthy plant growth. Construction of the frame. Constructing the frame is a crucial step in building a raised bed as it ensures the structure and stability of the entire bed. Here is a guide to constructing the frame for your raised bed. Step 1. Material procurement and preparation. Gather the materials needed for the frame, such as wooden boards, screws or nails, a saw, a drill and a spirit level. Measure the dimensions of your raised bed carefully and cut the wooden boards to the desired size. Step 2. Assembling the side panels. Lay out the wooden boards according to the chosen shape of the raised bed and make sure they are evenly aligned. Connect the side pieces together using screws or nails. Make sure that the corners are square and that the side pieces are firmly connected to each other. Step 3. Reinforcing the corners. Optional. To improve the stability of the frame, you can attach metal brackets or corner connectors to the corners of the raised bed. Attach the reinforcements with screws or nails to ensure they are secure and stabilize the corners of the frame. Step 4. Ground anchoring. Optional. To further stabilize the frame of the raised bed, you can concrete wooden posts or metal supports into the ground and attach the frame to them. Make sure the ground anchors are firmly anchored into the ground and hold the frame securely. Step 5. Check alignment and stability. Use a spirit level to check the alignment and level of the frame to make sure it is straight and stable. Make adjustments as necessary to ensure the frame is even and stable. After constructing the frame, your raised bed is ready to be filled with soil and planted. A solid and stable frame construction is crucial to the longevity and functionality of your raised bed, so it is important to carry out this step carefully. Filling the raised bed. Filling your raised bed correctly is crucial for the healthy growth of your plants. Here are instructions on how to fill your raised bed. Step 1. Layers for optimal drainage. Start with a layer of coarse material at the bottom of the raised bed, such as gravel, stones or coarse mulch material. This layer improves drainage and prevents waterlogging in the raised bed. Step 2. Applying a separating layer. Optional. Place a separating layer of weed fleece or cardboard over the coarse drainage layer to prevent weeds from growing from the soil into the raised bed. Step 3. Adding organic materials. Add a layer of organic materials such as compost, rotted leaves, grass clippings or manure. These materials will provide nutrients to your plants and improve soil structure. Step 4. Adding garden soil. Fill the raised bed to the brim with high-quality garden soil. Use a mixture of potting soil, compost and other organic materials to create a fertile and nutrient-rich growing base. Step 5. Even distribution and compaction. Spread the soil evenly in the raised bed and press it down lightly to create an even surface. Be careful not to compact the soil too tightly to ensure aeration and permeability of the soil. Step 6. Conclusion. Check that the raised bed is evenly filled and that the soil layer is at an appropriate height. Add more soil if necessary to ensure the raised bed is completely filled. After you have filled the raised bed, it is ready for planting. Theses and nursing. After you have built and filled your raised bed, finishing work and regular maintenance are crucial to ensure your plants grow healthy and produce a bountiful harvest. Here are some important finishing work and maintenance for your raised bed. Step 1. Watering. Make sure your raised bed is watered regularly and adequately, especially during dry periods. However, avoid waterlogging the soil as this can lead to root rot. Step 2. Weed control. Keep your raised bed weed-free by regularly weeding or using mulch to suppress weed growth, giving your plants more space, nutrients and water. Step 3. Fertilization. Fertilize your raised bed regularly with organic fertilizer to support the nutrient supply of your plants. Avoid over-fertilizing as this can lead to a buildup of salts in the soil. Step 4. Pest and disease control. Monitor your raised bed regularly for pests and diseases. Remove affected plant parts and use biological or organic pesticides if necessary. Step 5. Mulching. Use mulching material such as straw, grass clippings or leaves to retain moisture in the soil, suppress weed growth and improve soil structure. Step 6. Harvesting and replanting. Regularly harvest your plants as soon as they are mature to make room for new plants and allow for a continuous harvest. Replant as needed to ensure your raised bed remains continually productive. Step 7. Winter care. If necessary, protect your raised bed from frost in winter by covering it with a cover or fleece or by bringing frost-sensitive plants indoors. In spring, remove all dead plant debris and loosen the soil to prepare it for the new growing season. By performing these finishing and maintenance steps regularly, you can ensure that your raised bed stays healthy and produces a bountiful harvest. Be sure to consider the needs of your plants and adjust your raised bed accordingly. New technologies from the USA. In the USA, there is a constant development of new techniques and approaches in the field of horticulture and agriculture that are also relevant to the construction and maintenance of raised beds. Here are some innovative techniques from the USA. Square foot gardening. This method, developed by Mel Bartholomew, allows you to make the most of small garden spaces by dividing the garden into even squares. This concept is particularly well suited to raised beds as it allows for efficient use of space and minimizes weed growth. Hugelkultur. This method, which originated in Eastern Europe, is becoming increasingly popular in the United States. It involves building up organic materials such as wood, twigs and leaves in layers to create a raised bed area. The decomposition of these materials provides nutrients to the soil and improves soil structure. Aquaponics. Aquaponics is a sustainable farming system that combines aquaculture with hydroponics. Fish are bred in a tank, the wastewater from which is then used as nutrients for plants in a raised bed. This innovative technique makes it possible to grow both fish and plants in a closed-loop system. Vertical gardening. Vertical gardens are becoming increasingly popular, especially in urban areas where space is limited. This technique involves growing plants in vertical structures such as trellises, shelves or hanging pockets. Vertical raised beds can grow a variety of plants in a small area and are an efficient use of vertical space. Intensive cultivation techniques. Intensive cultivation techniques such as raised row gardening or intensive spacing allows you to grow a large amount of plants in a small space. These methods require careful planning and maintenance, but can result in increased yields and efficient use of space. These new techniques and approaches from the US can help make raised bed growing more effective and sustainable. By learning about these innovations and applying them to your own garden, you can encourage a bountiful harvest and a healthy garden landscape. Introduction of modern raised bed technologies. Modern raised bed technologies combine innovation and sustainability to make growing crops more efficient, productive and environmentally friendly. Here are some modern raised bed technologies in use today. Automatic irrigation systems. These systems allow the irrigation of raised beds to be controlled and optimized automatically. They can be equipped with sensors that monitor the moisture content of the soil and adjust the irrigation accordingly. This saves water and ensures that the plants receive a consistent supply of moisture. Smart gardening apps. There are a variety of gardening apps that allow you to plan, track and optimize your raised bed gardening. These apps offer features such as plant recommendations, watering and fertilizing reminders, and the ability to track and share garden progress. Raised beds with integrated composting system. These raised beds are equipped with a built-in composting system that allows organic waste to be composted on site and the resulting compost soil to be integrated directly into the raised bed. This promotes soil health and reduces the need for external fertilizer. Vertical raised beds with hydroponic growing. Vertical raised beds combine the space savings of vertical gardening with the benefits of hydroponic growing. These systems allow a variety of plants to be grown in a small space without the need for soil by growing the plants in a water-based nutrient mixture. Self-regulating raised beds. Some modern raised beds are equipped with self-regulating systems that allow the temperature, humidity and ventilation of the raised bed to be controlled automatically. This promotes optimal plant growth and reduces the need for manual maintenance. Raised beds with solar technology. Raised beds can be equipped with solar technology to support the energy supply for irrigation systems, lighting or other functions. Solar technology enables an environmentally friendly and sustainable energy supply for modern raised bed systems. These modern raised bed technologies offer innovative solutions to gardening challenges and make it possible to grow crops more efficiently, productively and environmentally friendly. By learning about these technologies and applying them to your own garden, you can promote a bountiful harvest and a healthy garden landscape. Adaptation and integration of new methods. Adapting and integrating new methods in horticulture, especially in the field of raised beds, is crucial to reap the benefits of modern technologies and innovative approaches. Here are some steps to successfully adapt and integrate new methods. Research and further education. Find out about the latest developments and technologies in the field of raised beds through research, specialist literature, workshops or training courses. Keep up to date with new methods and innovations and continuously expand your knowledge. Analysis and evaluation. Review your current gardening practices and identify areas where you could benefit from new methods. Analyze the potential benefits and challenges of the new methods and evaluate their suitability for your specific needs and circumstances. Planning and implementation. Develop an implementation plan for integrating new methods into your gardening practice. Set goals. Define actions and timelines, taking into account resources such as time, money and labor. Experiment and test. Conduct small pilot projects to try out new methods in your garden and test their effectiveness. Collect data and experience to assess whether the new methods meet your expectations and achieve your goals. Adaptation and optimization. Based on the experience and results gained, continuously adapt and optimize your gardening practices. Identify areas for improvement and make appropriate adjustments to maximize the efficiency and productivity of your raised bed. Feedback and sharing. Connect with other gardeners, experts and professionals to share experiences and best practices and learn from each other. Accept feedback and use it to continuously improve and refine your gardening practices. By following these steps and taking a proactive approach to adapting and integrating new gardening methods, you can increase the efficiency, productivity and sustainability of your raised bed and achieve a bountiful harvest and healthy plants. The right planting. Proper planting is crucial to the success of your raised bed. By choosing and arranging plants, you can create a diverse and productive garden landscape. Here are some tips for properly planting your raised bed. Consider space requirements. Make sure you choose plants that fit the space available in your raised bed. Consider the space required by mature plants and leave enough space between each plant to avoid overgrowth. Mix different types of plants. To promote the diversity and health of your raised bed, mix different types of plants together. For example, combine vegetables, herbs, flowers and berry bushes to create different heights, colors and textures. Consider complementary planting. Take advantage of complementary planting by choosing plants that complement and support each other. For example, certain plants may repel pests or improve soil, while others may balance soil nutrients or provide better air circulation. Consider the needs of the plants. Choose plants that suit the climatic conditions and light levels of your location. Pay attention to the specific requirements of each plant species in terms of sunlight, watering, soil conditions and temperature. Plan the arrangement of plants. When arranging plants, consider their height, width and root depth. Place taller plants at the back of the raised bed to ensure good visibility and light, and leave low-growing plants in the front or along the edges of the raised bed. Consider rotational cultivation. To maintain soil fertility and prevent diseases or pests, practice rotational cultivation by growing the plants in different places in the raised bed each year. By following these tips and carefully selecting and arranging plants, you can ensure that your raised bed provides a diverse and healthy garden landscape and produces a bountiful harvest. Selection of suitable plants. Choosing suitable plants for your raised bed depends on several factors, including location, climate, available sunlight, and personal preference. Here are some popular types of plants that are well suited to growing in raised beds. Vegetables. Tomatoes. A variety of tomato varieties thrive in raised beds and require sufficient sunlight and regular watering. Lettuce. Leaf lettuces such as lettuce, romaine lettuce and lamb's lettuce are ideal for raised beds because they require little space and grow quickly. Carrots. Carrots grow well in deep raised beds and require loose, well-drained soil. Zucchini. Zucchini are productive plants that require plenty of space and good ventilation for healthy growth. Herbs. Basil. This aromatic herb thrives in raised beds and needs plenty of sun and regular watering. Parsley. A versatile herb that is easy to grow in raised beds and requires consistent pruning to keep growing. Thyme. Thyme is a robust herb that thrives in raised beds and requires little care. Mint. Mint can be grown well in raised beds as it tends to spread quickly. Flowers. Marigolds. These colorful flowers are not only beautiful to look at, but also attract beneficial insects and aid pollination. Tagetes. Tagetes are hardy flowers that can keep pests away and encourage the growth of other plants. Nasturtium. Nasturtium is an edible flower that blooms profusely and can repel pests. Pansies. These hardy flowers are ideal for raised beds because they can thrive even in cooler weather. Berry bushes. Strawberries. Strawberries do well in raised beds and can be grown either in hanging baskets or on raised beds. Raspberries. Raspberries require plenty of sunlight and can be grown in raised beds by attaching them to supports or trellises. When choosing plants for your raised bed, it's important to consider the needs of each plant species and make sure they work well together. By combining different plant species, you can create a diverse and productive garden landscape that promotes bountiful harvests and a healthy environment. Top 20 vegetables for a raised bed. Tomatoes. Versatile and popular for growing in raised beds, provided they receive sufficient sunlight and regular watering. Lettuce. Leafy salads such as lettuce, romaine lettuce and lamb's lettuce grow well in raised beds and are easy to grow. Carrots. These root vegetables thrive in deep raised beds and require loose, well-drained soil. Zucchini. Productive plants that require plenty of space and good ventilation for healthy growth. Cucumbers. Climbing cucumber plants grow well in raised beds and can be trained up trellises or supports. Peppers. These warm weather-loving plants thrive in raised beds and require full sun and regular watering. Peas. Climbing pea plants can be grown in raised beds by attaching them to trellises or supports. Radishes. Fast-growing root vegetables that thrive in raised beds and require little space. Spinach. This leafy vegetable grows well in raised beds and is rich in nutrients. Kohlrabi. This cruciferous vegetable can be grown well in raised beds and requires sufficient space for the tuber to develop. Broccoli. A demanding vegetable that requires plenty of sunlight and does well in raised beds. Swiss chard. This hardy leafy vegetable grows well in raised beds and can be harvested over a longer period of time. Leek. This aromatic vegetable requires plenty of sunlight and well-drained soil for healthy growth. Celery. A demanding vegetable that grows well in deep raised beds and requires regular watering. Beetroot. This root vegetable grows well in raised beds and requires loose soil for the development of the tubers. Fennel. This aromatic vegetable requires plenty of sunlight and well-drained soil for healthy growth. Cabbage. Various varieties of cabbage, such as white cabbage, red cabbage or Savoy cabbage, can be grown well in raised beds and require sufficient space for the heads to develop. Artichokes. This perennial vegetable grows well in deep raised beds and requires plenty of sunlight. Asparagus. Perennial vegetable that grows well in deep raised beds and requires well-drained soil. Eggplant. This heat-loving vegetable grows well in raised beds and requires full sun and regular watering. By selecting and growing these vegetables in your raised bed, you can encourage a bountiful harvest and a diverse diet. Be sure to consider the needs of each plant species and adjust the raised bed accordingly. Mixed culture and optimal placement. Intercropping and optimal plant placement in your raised bed can help your plants grow better, be healthier, and produce a higher yield. Here are some tips for successful intercropping and placement. Choose complementary plants. Choose plants that complement and support each other. For example, some plants may repel pests, improve soil, or balance soil nutrients, while others promote growth or use space effectively. Consider growth and space needs. Make sure you plant plants with similar growth needs together. Make sure larger plants don't overgrow smaller plants and that each plant has enough space for its root system. Utilize vertical growth. Take advantage of the vertical dimension of your raised bed by planting climbing plants on trellises or other vertical structures. This will maximize the available space and improve ventilation for your plants. Practice rotational cropping. Avoid growing plants of the same family or nutrient needs in the same spot in the raised bed. Instead, practice rotational cropping by changing the position of plants each year to avoid soil fatigue and promote soil health. Consider cross-cultural compatibility. Make sure you plant plants with similar needs and compatibility together. Some types of plants can benefit each other, while others can have a negative impact. For example, avoid planting garlic next to beans, as this can inhibit the beans' growth. Use planting partners and spacing. Some types of plants benefit from each other when grown next to each other. For example, certain herbs can help keep pests away or encourage the growth of other plants. Be sure to leave enough space between plants to ensure good ventilation and light. By following these tips for successful mixed planting and placement, you can ensure that your raised bed is used to its full potential and that your plants grow healthy and productively. Experiment with different planting combinations and observe the results to get the best results for your raised bed. Which vegetables, herbs or plants can grow in the shade? Some vegetables, herbs and plants also thrive in shadier areas and therefore do well growing in raised beds with less direct sunlight. Here are some options. Leafy vegetables. Spinach. Spinach is a shade-tolerant plant that grows well even in less sunlight. Lamb's lettuce. Lamb's lettuce is a hardy plant that thrives in shady areas and grows quickly. Herbs. Parsley. Parsley is a shade-tolerant plant and can be grown well in raised beds with less sunlight. Chives. Chives are an easy care plant that thrives even in shady areas. Root vegetables. Radishes. Radishes are fast-growing root vegetables and can thrive in shady areas, although they prefer slightly less sun. Flowers. Daisies. Daisies are hardy flowers that can grow well in shady areas. Pansies. Pansies are another option for flowers that thrive in shady raised beds. Greens. Kale. Kale is a hardy plant that thrives in shadier areas and is a good source of nutrients. Swiss chard. Swiss chard is a shade-tolerant plant and can also be grown in less sunny areas. Mushrooms. Mushrooms. Mushrooms thrive in shady, moist areas and can be grown in special raised mushroom beds. It's important to note that even plants that can thrive in shade still need some sunlight to grow and develop. Make sure your raised bed gets enough light, even if it's not exposed to direct sunlight all day. By growing shade-tolerant plants in your raised bed, you can make the most of the space available and still produce a bountiful harvest. Plan 12 months use of My Raised Bed. To get the most out of your raised bed year-round, you can grow a variety of plants that thrive in different seasons. Here is a list of plants you can grow in your raised bed each month. January. Winter vegetables such as kale, Savoy cabbage and lamb's lettuce. Hardy herbs such as rosemary, thyme and chives. February. Spinach, radish, winter leek. March. Rhubarb, beetroot, carrots. April. Peas, lettuce, radish. May. Tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers. June. Paprika, eggplants, bush beans. July. Basil, parsley, zucchini. August. Chard, lamb's lettuce, beetroot. September. Broccoli, kohlrabi, radish. October. Garlic, shallots. Winter leek. November. Kale, Brussels sprouts. Savoy. December. Chicory, endives. Winter leek. By planting a variety of vegetables, herbs and flowers, you can ensure that your raised bed remains productive all year round, providing you with a continuous supply of fresh food and beautiful plants. Remember to consider the needs of each plant and adjust the layout accordingly to get the most out of your raised bed. Care and watering. Maintaining and watering your raised bed is crucial to the healthy growth of your plants and maximizing your harvest. Here are some tips for maintenance and watering. Soil preparation. Start with good soil preparation by using high-quality garden soil and compost to improve nutrient levels and soil structure. Loosen the soil regularly with a garden claw or cultivator to promote good aeration and drainage. Weed control. Keep your raised bed free of weeds by weeding and mulching regularly. A thick layer of mulch made from straw, leaves or grass clippings can suppress weed growth and retain moisture in the soil. Irrigation. Make sure to water your plants evenly, especially during dry periods, but avoid overwatering as this can lead to root rot. Water your raised bed in the morning or evening to minimize evaporation and keep moisture in the soil. Use drip irrigation systems or irrigation hoses to ensure efficient irrigation and save water. Fertilization. Regularly supplement the nutrient content of your raised bed with organic fertilizer or compost to promote the growth of your plants. Use fertilizers specifically tailored to the needs of your plants and follow the instructions on the packaging to avoid over-fertilization. Pest and disease control. Monitor your raised bed regularly for signs of pests or diseases and take timely measures to control them if necessary. Practice crop rotation and keep your raised bed clean to reduce the risk of pest and disease infestation. Harvest and aftercare. Harvest your plants regularly to make room for new seedlings and encourage a continuous harvest. Regularly remove dead or diseased plant parts to prevent the spread of disease. Conduct regular inspections and respond quickly to problems to maintain the health and productivity of your raised bed. By following these care and watering tips, you can ensure that your raised bed stays healthy and provides you with a bountiful harvest of fresh vegetables, herbs and flowers. Cultivation and harvest calendar for the whole year. A year-round planting and harvesting calendar can help you optimize plant selection and plant planning in your raised bed. Here is an example of such a calendar covering the months of the year. January. Cultivation. Winter vegetables such as kale, Savoy cabbage, lamb's lettuce. Harvest. Winter vegetables such as kale, Savoy cabbage, lamb's lettuce. February. Cultivation. Spinach, radishes, winter leek. Harvest. Spinach, radishes, winter leek. March. Cultivation. Rhubarb, beetroot, carrots. Harvest. Radishes, lamb's lettuce, winter leek. April. Cultivation. Peas, lettuce, radishes. Harvest. Rhubarb, beetroot, carrots. May. Cultivation. Tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers. Harvest. Peas, lettuce, radishes. June. Cultivation. Peppers, eggplants, bush beans. Harvest. Tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers. July. Cultivation. Basil, parsley, zucchini. Harvest. Peppers, eggplants, bush beans. August. Cultivation. Swiss chard, lamb's lettuce, beetroot. Harvest. Basil, parsley, zucchini. September. Cultivation. Broccoli, kohlrabi, radishes. Harvest. Swiss chard, lamb's lettuce, beetroot. October. Cultivation. Garlic, shallots, winter leek. Harvest. Broccoli, kohlrabi, radishes. November. Cultivation. Kale, Brussels sprouts, Savoy cabbage. Harvest. Garlic, shallots, winter leeks. December. Cultivation. Chicory, endive, winter leek. Harvest. Kale, Brussels sprouts, Savoy cabbage. This calendar serves as a guide for growing and harvesting vegetables, herbs and flowers in your raised bed throughout the year. However, please note that exact growing and harvesting times may vary depending on your location, local climate and the specific conditions in your raised bed. It is important to consider local recommendations and experience and adjust your growing calendar accordingly. Monthly overview. January. Cultivation. Kale, Savoy cabbage, lamb's lettuce. Harvest. Kale, Savoy cabbage, lamb's lettuce. February. Cultivation. Spinach, radishes, winter leek. Harvest. Spinach, radishes, winter leek. March. Cultivation. Rhubarb, beetroot, carrots. Harvest: spinach, radishes. Winter leek, April. Cultivation: peas, lettuce, radishes. Harvest: rhubarb, beetroot, carrots. May. Cultivation: tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers. Harvest: peas, lettuce, radishes. June. Cultivation: peppers, eggplants, bush beans. Harvest: tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers. July. Cultivation: basil, parsley, zucchini. Harvest: peppers, eggplants, bush beans. August. Cultivation: Swiss chard, lamb's lettuce, beetroot. Harvest: basil, parsley, zucchini. September. Cultivation: broccoli, kohlrabi, radishes. Harvest: Swiss chard, lamb's lettuce, beetroot. October. Cultivation: garlic, shallots, winter leek. Harvest: broccoli, kohlrabi, radishes. November. Cultivation: kale, Brussels sprouts, Savoy cabbage. Harvest: garlic, shallots, winter leeks. December. Cultivation: chicory, endive, winter leek. Harvest: kale, Brussels sprouts, Savoy cabbage. This overview provides a rough guide for growing and harvesting plants in your raised bed throughout the year. However, keep in mind that exact times may vary depending on your location and local climatic conditions. It is important to adapt to local conditions and adjust your growing calendar accordingly. Tips and tricks for every season. Of course, the challenges and requirements for growing in a raised bed vary depending on the season and the prevailing climatic conditions. Here are some general tips and tricks for each season. Spring. Beware of frost. Check the weather regularly to spot frost warnings. If necessary, cover your sensitive plants with fleece or a frost protection blanket. Spring pruning. Cut back old, dead plant parts and remove weeds to prepare the raised bed for new growth. Prepare the soil. Loosen the soil and add fresh compost to improve the nutrient supply. Summer. Watering. Make sure your raised bed is adequately watered, especially during hot and dry periods. Use mulch to retain moisture in the soil. Pest control. Check your plants regularly for pests such as aphids or caterpillars and take appropriate control measures if necessary. Harvest time. Harvest your ripe fruits and vegetables regularly to make room for new growth and avoid overproduction. Autumn. Spring sowing. Plant early flowering vegetable and flower seeds for an early harvest next year. Protection from the cold. Cover your sensitive plants with frost protection fleece or a frost protection blanket to protect them from the first frosty nights. Soil amendment. Amend the soil with organic material such as compost or rotted leaves to improve the nutrient supply for next year. Winter. Reduce watering. Reduce the amount of watering during the cold months as plants require less water and the soil dries more slowly. Plant protection. Protect your plants from extreme weather conditions by covering them with frost protection fleece or a frost protection blanket. Planning for next year. Use the winter months to review your growing plan for the coming year. Research new plants, and maintain and repair your raised bed. By following these tips and tricks for each season, you can successfully maintain your raised bed all year round and enjoy a bountiful harvest of fresh vegetables, herbs and flowers. Problem solutions and common errors. Here are some troubleshooting tips for common problems and common mistakes when growing in a raised bed. Overwatering. Solution. Make sure your raised bed has adequate drainage to remove excess water. Use irrigation systems such as drip irrigation or irrigation hoses to ensure consistent watering. Allow the soil to dry slightly between waterings to avoid waterlogging. Under irrigation. Solution. Check soil moisture levels regularly, especially during hot and dry periods. Water your plants deeply to ensure water reaches the roots. Use mulch to retain moisture in the soil and reduce evaporation. Nutrient deficiency. Solution. Amend the soil regularly with organic fertilizer or compost to improve the nutrients your plants receive. Conduct a soil analysis to determine which nutrients are lacking and fertilize accordingly. Weed growth. Solution. Remove weeds regularly to prevent them from competing with your plants and taking their nutrients and water. Use mulch to suppress weed growth and retain soil moisture. Pest infestation. Problem solving. Check your plants regularly for signs of pests such as aphids, snails or caterpillars. Use organic pest control products such as neem oil or insecticidal soaps to control pests without harming the environment. Diseases. Problem solving. Watch for signs of disease such as fungal infections, brown rot or powdery mildew. Remove infected plant parts and dispose of them properly to prevent the spread of disease. Use fungicidal sprays as needed to control the spread of disease. Wrong plant selection. Problem solving. Choose plants that suit the climatic conditions in your region and have the right light, soil and water requirements. Consider the space requirements and growth habits of the plants to avoid overcrowding and promote optimal development. By considering these troubleshooting tips and common mistakes, you can improve the health and productivity of your raised bed and enjoy a bountiful harvest of fresh vegetables, herbs and flowers. Pest control. Pest control in a raised bed can be challenging, but there are a variety of methods to control pests without resorting to chemical pesticides. Here are some effective pest control methods. Handpicking. Regularly check your plants for pests such as aphids, slugs or caterpillars and remove them by hand. This can be time-consuming but is an effective way to control infestations. Biological pest control. Use natural enemies such as ladybugs, parasitic wasps or assassin bugs to control pests in your raised bed. These beneficial insects feed on pests and can help reduce their population. Neem oil. Neem oil is a natural insecticide extracted from the seeds of the neem tree. It is effective against a wide range of pests and can be applied as a spray to plants to control pests. Insecticidal soap. Insecticidal soaps are another natural option for pest control. They work by breaking down the insect's outer protective covering and drying them out. However, keep in mind that insecticidal soaps can also affect beneficial insects, so it's important to use them selectively and with caution. Copper tape. Copper tape can be placed around raised beds or individual plants to deter slugs and snails from approaching. The copper creates a small electrical charge that is unpleasant for these pests and deters them from reaching the plants. Plant repellents. Some plants have natural defenses against pests. Plants such as marigolds, basil or lavender can be grown as companion plants to keep pests away and protect the raised bed. Netting and barriers. Use netting or barriers to protect your raised bed from pests such as birds or rodents. These physical barriers prevent pests from accessing your plants and can be an effective solution, especially for larger problems. By using a combination of these pest control methods and regularly monitoring your plants, You can control pests in your raised bed and protect your crops without resorting to chemical pesticides. Diseases and their prevention. Disease prevention is crucial to maintaining the health of your plants in a raised bed. Here are some common diseases and tips for prevention. Fungal diseases. Prevention. Ensure good ventilation in the raised bed to promote air circulation and reduce humidity. Avoid overhead watering and water the plants directly at the root. Also, avoid wetting the leaves, especially in warm weather, as moisture promotes the spread of fungal diseases. Bacterial diseases. Prevention. Avoid injuring plants as these can be entry points for bacterial infections. Regularly remove dead or diseased plant parts to prevent the spread of disease. Disinfect your garden tools regularly to avoid contamination. Viral diseases. Prevention. Plant resistant varieties when possible to reduce the risk of virus infection. Maintain healthy plants and avoid buying or importing plants from unsafe sources as they may be infected with viruses. Deficiency diseases. Prevention. Make sure your plants have enough nutrients by fertilizing regularly and monitoring soil pH. A balanced diet is crucial to prevent deficiency diseases. Root rot. Prevention. Make sure your raised bed has good drainage to avoid waterlogging, which can lead to root rot. Use loose and well-drained soil and avoid overwatering. Pest-borne diseases. Prevention. Check your plants regularly for pest infestations and take pest control measures if necessary. Reduce the risk of pest transmission by removing weeds and dead plant parts that can serve as habitats for pests. Crop rotation. Prevention. Practice crop rotation by rotating plant families in the raised bed to prevent the spread of diseases specific to certain plant species. By following these preventative measures and regularly monitoring your plants, you can minimize the risk of disease in your raised bed and maximize the health of your plants. Analysis and correction. When analyzing and correcting raised bed errors, it is important to identify the causes of problems and take appropriate measures to fix them. Here are some common raised bed errors and how to correct them. Overwatering. Mistake. Too frequent and intensive watering leads to waterlogging and root rot. Correction. Reduce the amount and frequency of watering. Make sure to allow the soil to dry slightly between waterings. Improve the drainage of the raised bed by loosening the soil and adding additional drainage material if necessary. Under-irrigation. Mistake. Inadequate watering leads to drought stress in the plants and poor growth. Correction. Increase watering amount and frequency, especially in hot weather. Make sure plants are getting enough water by checking the soil regularly for moisture. Nutrient deficiency. Error. Insufficient supply of plants with important nutrients leads to poor growth and yellowing leaves. Correction. Amend the soil with organic fertilizers or compost to improve the nutrient supply. If necessary, conduct a soil analysis to determine which nutrients are lacking and fertilize accordingly. Pest infestation. Mistake. Pests such as aphids, snails or caterpillars damage the plants and reduce the harvest. Correction. Regularly check your plants for pest infestation and take appropriate pest control measures such as hand picking. Natural enemies, biological insecticides or physical barriers. Diseases. Error. Fungal diseases, bacterial infections or viral diseases affect the health and growth of the plants. Correction. Remove infected plant parts to prevent the spread of disease. Ensure good ventilation and air circulation in the raised bed to reduce moisture. Use natural or chemical means of disease control if necessary. Wrong plant selection. Mistake. Growing plants that are not suitable for the climatic conditions or the space in the raised bed will result in poor growth and low yields. Correction. Choose plants that suit local climatic conditions and have the right light, soil and water requirements. Consider the space requirements and growth behavior of the plants to avoid overcrowding and promote optimal development. By identifying and correcting these mistakes, you can improve the health and productivity of your raised bed and enjoy a bountiful harvest of fresh vegetables, herbs and flowers. Enjoying the harvest. Enjoying the harvest from your raised bed is probably the best part of the whole process. Here are some tips to help you enjoy your harvest to the fullest. Enjoy fresh and local produce. Use the freshly harvested produce from your raised bed and incorporate it into your daily meals. Vegetables, herbs and fruit that come directly from your garden are not only healthier, but also taste better. Creative preparation. Experiment with new recipes and preparation methods to make the most of the diversity of your harvest. Try different cooking techniques such as grilling, roasting, steaming or raw cooking to vary the taste and texture of the food. Share your harvest. Enjoy sharing your harvest with family, friends and neighbors. There's nothing better than sharing fresh produce from your own garden and making meals or gifts together. Canning and preserving. If you have a larger harvest than you can use immediately, you can can, freeze or dry vegetables, fruits and herbs to store them for later use. This way, you can preserve the freshness of your harvest for a longer period of time and enjoy it even when it is out of season. Experience community. Visit local markets, community gardens or gardening-related events to showcase your harvest and connect with like-minded people. Gardening can be a communal activity that not only promotes harvest but also social connections. Relaxation in the garden. Use your garden as a place to relax and unwind. Enjoy the peace and nature while you tend to your plants and admire the beauty of your harvest. By enjoying your harvest to the fullest and sharing the joy of gardening, you can get the most out of your raised bed and enjoy the fruits of your labor to the fullest. Tips for harvest preparation. Harvest preparation is an important step to ensure you get the most out of your harvest. Here are some harvest preparation tips. Monitor your plants. Check the condition of your plants regularly to determine if they are ready for harvest. Look for signs of ripeness such as the color, size and texture of the fruit or vegetable. Plan ahead. Make a list of the crops you plan to harvest and plan accordingly. Consider how you plan to use the harvest and what preparation or preservation methods you will use. Prepare your tools. Make sure you have all the necessary tools and equipment for harvesting ready, such as pruning shears, harvesting knife, basket or bucket. Clean your tools to avoid contaminating the harvest. Choose the right time. Harvest your plants at the optimal time, when they taste best and their nutrients are at their highest. Many vegetables are best harvested in the early morning or late afternoon when temperatures are cooler. Prune properly. Prune plants with clean and sharp tools to minimize damage and preserve the crop. Be careful not to damage or crush the plants, as this can affect their shelf life. Sort the harvest. Sort your harvest by size, color or ripeness for better organization and easier storage or preparation. Remove damaged or rotten parts and use only healthy plants. Preserve the harvest. If you have a large harvest or cannot use it all right away, preserve it by canning, freezing or drying. This way you can maintain the freshness and flavor of your harvest for a longer period of time. By following these harvest preparation tips, you can ensure that you get the most out of your harvest and fully enjoy the fruits of your labor. Recipe ideas for fresh produce from the raised bed. Greek salad with fresh herbs. Ingredients: tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, onions, olives, feta cheese, fresh herbs, such as parsley, oregano, mint, olive oil, lemon juice, salt and pepper. Preparation: cut the vegetables and cheese into cubes or slices. Finely chop the herbs. Mix everything in a large bowl and season with olive oil, lemon juice, salt and pepper to taste. Caprese salad with homegrown tomatoes. Ingredients: tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, fresh basil leaves, olive oil, balsamic glaze, salt and pepper. Preparation: cut the tomatoes and mozzarella into slices. Place the tomato and mozzarella slices alternately on a plate. Garnish with basil leaves and drizzle with olive oil and balsamic glaze. Season with salt and pepper. Baked vegetables from the raised bed. Ingredients: a selection of vegetables from your raised bed. For example, carrots, zucchini, peppers, eggplant, olive oil, garlic, rosemary, salt and pepper. Preparation: cut the vegetables into bite-sized pieces. Mix the vegetables in a bowl with olive oil, chopped garlic and rosemary. Spread the vegetables on a baking sheet and season with salt and pepper. Bake in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius for about 20-25 minutes or until the vegetables are soft and golden brown. Pesto with fresh basil. Ingredients: fresh basil, pine nuts, garlic, Parmesan cheese, olive oil, salt and pepper. Preparation: place basil leaves, pine nuts, chopped garlic and grated Parmesan cheese in a blender or food processor. Blend slowly and gradually add olive oil until it reaches a creamy consistency. Season with salt and pepper and spread over pasta, bread or vegetables. Grilled vegetable sandwich. Ingredients: various vegetables from the raised bed. For example, zucchini, eggplant, peppers, mushrooms, ciabatta bread, cream cheese, pesto, rocket, olive oil, salt and pepper. Preparation: slice the vegetables and grill them on the grill or in a grill pan with a little olive oil, salt and pepper. Slice the ciabatta bread and spread both sides with cream cheese and pesto. Place the grilled vegetables and rocket on the bottom half of the bread and cover with the top half. Press the sandwich together lightly and serve warm. These recipes are just a few examples of how you can use your fresh produce from your raised bed. Experiment with different ingredients and cooking methods to create delicious meals that make the most of your harvest. Rights and ownership notice. This audiobook is published and distributed by Testbericht-Institut LLC. All copyrights, publishing rights, distribution rights, audio rights, and related intellectual property rights for this work have been lawfully and exclusively acquired by Testbericht-Institut LLC. Testbericht-Institut LLC is the sole and unrestricted rights holder of this audiobook, including the right to reproduce, distribute, publish, monetize, and publicly perform the content on digital platforms such as YouTube. The original manuscript files, source documents, and contractual acquisition records serve as proof of lawful ownership. The original author and/or their authorized representative, Renovatio LLC, has transferred all relevant rights to Testberichtinstat LLC in accordance with applicable copyright and publishing law. This ownership applies to all current and future uses of this work, including audio, video, and digital publications. Effective date of rights ownership: the 1st of February 2026. Any unauthorized use, reproduction, re-upload, redistribution, or claiming of this content is strictly prohibited. Copyright Testberichtinstat LLC. All rights reserved.